Hello and welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaefer. I hope that you are having a miraculous Monday. I'm sending you so much love, so much abundance, confidence, worthiness, all of the great vibes your way. Today's episode is really special to me because I feel like through so many conversations that I've been having with so many different women, comparison gets talked about so frequently. We are all noticing that this is something that's coming up, whether that's in person, online, through socials, or even in our family dynamics. Comparison is something that can truly suck the joy out of any kind of experience. Whether you're having an incredible day, you're feeling super successful, you're feeling really confident, or you're having a bad day and someone says something that just makes you feel even worse about yourself. Comparison is very prevalent in today's social media age and just in life in general. You know, we're constantly being compared, whether we're comparing ourselves, whether other people are comparing us. Comparison is real and it's out there, and I have been experiencing it. And one of the biggest lessons that I actually took from a recent vacation that I went on was that comparison and constantly worrying about what you look like compared to other people, or what you sound like, or what perception people have about you. Every single time that we focus our attention and our energy on comparison and all of the things that entails, it really does distract us from the present moment and from enjoying what is right in front of us. And I'm going to just give you guys a real and honest experience that I just had, and I didn't even plan on sharing this, but I always set the intention before these podcast episodes that whatever is meant to come through me comes through me, and I share it from my heart because I know that if I am saying it, it's meant to be said. So as I was on this beautiful vacation with my man and my daughter, we went to Chicago, and then we drove from Chicago to Wisconsin to go for a little family trip at this place called Great Wolf Lodge, which is like a huge water park, an indoor water park and an outdoor water park. And weeks prior, leading up to it, I was feeling very insecure about my skin. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen my skin journey throughout social media, on Instagram, I share a little bit about this, but I've been getting these breakouts recently. And I remember the weeks leading up, I was getting really, really anxious and just in my head comparing myself a ton to literally every single person that I saw. And I remember telling Ty like 2 weeks before going out to Chicago, I was on the couch with him, I was sitting there, and I just had tears in my eyes talking about how I feel like I'm going to have to wear makeup while we're on the water slides because I just don't feel confident and I just don't feel happy in my skin. And I don't like the way that I look right now without makeup. And even saying this, my throat was already like, Savannah, why are you sharing about this? But I know that if I am going through this, so many other people are too. And so I want to just be open and honest, whether this is about your skin, or it's about your weight, or it's about a scar that you have, or it's about some other imperfection that you're insecure about. Every single one of us, every single person on this earth, no matter how beautiful they are, or how skinny they are, or how perfect their life seems on social media, every single one of us goes through moments of comparison. I promise you that. So as I was on this trip, I decided to show up as the next level version of myself. The next level version of myself would feel confident in her skin. She would wear her natural skin, because no natural skin as in like no makeup, because she feels so confident and she loves herself and she loves her skin. And so that's exactly what I did. I decided to go no makeup the entire weekend. And as I sat there going throughout this water park, I really took a moment to just think to myself, every single person here has something that they're insecure about. And yet we're all here sharing space, and we can either live in our heads about, will that person notice? Will they know that I have X, Y, and Z? Or will I just fucking enjoy the moment? And will I be present? And will I have joy and laughter and just embrace what's right in front of me? And so that's exactly what I decided to do. It was so interesting. I had these little micro moments of life lessons happening while I was on this vacation. And this was one of the biggest things that came through, because growing up, I always felt like I needed to compare myself to others based on what I saw around me. I always thought that I need to kind of take note of, like, you know, things that aren't really healthy for a young girl to take note of. It's just simply not. I think that anytime that we comment on someone else, external to us and we're judging them, I feel like it only comes right back to us, and it brings karma in our life. And I'm just somebody who will never do that, especially for things that someone can't change. Like, I just do not believe in that gossiping culture and things like that. So yeah, besides the point. The point is, every single one of us have insecurities. Every single one of us has moments of comparison. It is real. It's happening all the time, whether we are conscious of it or we're not. Every single time that you're scrolling on social media and you are scrolling past somebody who just got engaged and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I could find someone who loves me like that guy loves that woman. Or you see someone who is maybe just lost a ton of weight, or you just saw somebody, have a huge achievement in their career, and you sit there and you're like, how are they so far along and I'm only this far along, but I've been in the game longer, or whatever. It's like we're constantly comparing ourselves to someone else's life, someone else's highlight reel, might I add, and it's just not reality. It's just not real. And I really genuinely feel like there are small things that we can do to support ourselves and to not allow ourselves to get caught up in that comparison. And I want to give you guys those tips here in this today. And I also want to give you a little bit more of an insight of what's actually happening inside the brain, because a lot of times when we're scrolling through social media, we see a post that maybe makes us feel insecure, or that maybe makes us question, where am I at? How far along am I? I feel like I'm behind. We get in our head. And then the next post that we see, we're maybe like laughing at something that's super funny on social media. We're laughing at like a dog doing a flip on a ball or something super random, right? Or we're getting a tip from something and now our dopamine gets hit. We have these cheap dopamine hits from social media. And what happens every single time that we scroll past the video that makes us feel insecure, and then the next video makes us feel like we are high on life, it actually does something in our brain, and it opens up this loop. It opens up this loop that then tries to find something else to validate the initial belief. So let's say, for example, you saw someone get engaged on social media and you're sitting there thinking, I've been with my boyfriend for X amount of years, and like, why doesn't anyone love me? Maybe that's the question. Maybe that's been the question for a lot of your life, whether you've been mistreated in your childhood and you felt like your parents didn't love you, or something else. This has been this constant loop that's been open of, why doesn't someone love me? Or why can't I find someone who loves me the way that I want them to? And then you're seeing this post on social media, you're thinking, why doesn't this person love me the way that I wish that they did, or whatever. Then the next post is something happy, go lucky. That loop of, I never will find someone who loves me the way that that person does, or I will never find someone who truly loves me for who I am or accepts me for who I am, whatever that initial thought is, that loop is now open. And now every single experience in your life, you are going to start filtering through that specific loop in your brain that's open. And this is all based on neuroscience. Neuroscience is something I really love to geek out on. The loop that is opening is now looking for anything to validate that specific thought. So then when you're in a conversation with someone and they say something that maybe they didn't mean anything by it, your brain will automatically assume, oh, that was about me because they don't love me the way that I thought that they loved me, or because they don't accept me for who I am. The first initial thought or belief that was proposed or experienced when you saw that one video, or when you were experiencing that in your childhood or whatever, that loop that's been now open, it's only going to continue to find things that cement that belief, that almost just, that make it real, that make it valid, that validates that belief system. And so now all of a sudden, when your reticular activating system is being programmed to, no one will ever love me, or no one's ever going to accept me, or no one's going to accept me for who I am, as that continues to play, that loop continues to go around and around and around, that is where you are going to create a belief system that actually holds you back massively in life. That's going to tell you, hey, well, you better not show up authentically, because if you show up authentically, no one's going to love you. You better not put your full trust into this relationship, because if you do, they're not going to love you, or something bad will happen, or whatever. So it's going to actually hold you back from experiencing what you're meant to experience, whether that's unconditional love, whether that's success, whether that's happiness, whether that's joy or fulfillment. It's going to hold you back because you're no longer longer going to be acting in alignment. You're going to be acting now from a belief system that is actually limiting and that is holding power over you in a very, very negative way. And this is the danger of social media for sure, because now it's happening 24/7. We're constantly scrolling, we're constantly on our phones, but it also can happen in real life too. And so once you become aware of these things through listening to things like this, and you're starting to connect the dots of, oh, wow, wait, that just now opened up a loop for me. I'd better go and close it. That is the key here, is now that this loop has been opened, you need to close the loop. You need to solve the problem for yourself before the problem just continues to spiral out of control. So my advice for you to stop comparing yourself is to actually take a moment to sit with what is coming up. So if you notice that loop just got opened of I'm not good enough, or no one's going to accept me, no one's going to love me, I want you to slow it down. I want you to slow it down and actually take a moment to grab your journal, or if you don't have your journal and this is happening while you're out and about, go to the bathroom. Speak all of your thoughts into your phone notes. Allow your notes to just go on recording and just record all of the thoughts that you're having. Or you can go ahead and just journal it out. I love putting pen to paper. I feel like putting pen to paper is a release in itself because you're actively getting it out of your body. But if you're not able to, then of course you can go ahead and record yourself like into your voice memos or into your notes app, and allow yourself to just sit with all of those thoughts and just allow them to spill out until there's nothing else left. And if those thoughts continue to spiral, you want to give yourself the support that you would give to your absolute best friend. Give yourself the support that you would give to your child, to your son or your daughter. If she came to you or if he came to you saying, "Mommy, I don't think that anyone loves me," what would you tell your son or daughter? You'd probably give them a total reality check. You'd probably sit their butts down and say, "Honey, are you kidding me? Like, I understand that you may feel that way, but that is not the truth." And you would walk them through this thought process of understanding that they are beautiful, they are loved, they are worthy, they are secure, they are safe, all of these different things. Same with one of your best friends. If your best friend came to you and said that, you would say, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? How could you ever believe this about yourself?" And talk to yourself the way a mentor would, a way that your grandma maybe would talk to you. Whoever it is that you know you could go to and get that support, talk to them the way that I would talk to you. Okay, I would never, ever let you continue a thought process like that. Never in your life, honey. I would slow you down. I would sit you down. I would hold your hands. I would look into your eyes and say, "Are you joking, my love? Are you kidding me? You have so much to offer. You have so much to bring to the table, regardless of anything that you've experienced in the past, regardless of how anyone else has made you feel. I want you to acknowledge what you bring to the table. I want you to acknowledge all of the magic that is in your soul. I want you to acknowledge all of the greatness that you bring into every single room, every single time that you walk into a new one." Okay, you have so much light, you have so much love inside of you. And we are responsible for protecting our peace, for protecting our confidence, for protecting our insecurities, our securities, everything. We have the responsibility to do so. So I want you to start practicing these few things, and you can take what resonates with you, you can leave with what doesn't. But number one, I would consider unfollowing or muting accounts that make you feel like you're not far enough ahead, that you're not doing good enough, that you're behind, that you're not loved, that you're not accepted, anything like that. Because I don't want you to continue to open up those loops, and you don't want that for yourself either, because the more that you do, the more that you reinforce this belief system that's actually not supportive for you. So mute and unfollow accounts that are not truly of support, that are not there for your highest of good. And release the comparison. If you notice that you are envious of how someone else lives, and you're not able to shift the envy into inspiration, that is a number one, just like a good practice in itself. Shift envy into inspiration. That's such a good way to reprogram this into your life. But second, make sure to take note of who does cause you to get in your head, or who are the accounts that you follow that as soon as you open your Instagram and you start tapping through their stories or their content, that you just feel icky, you feel gross. You will notice it. And once you start to become more aware of these things, it's going to stand out very quickly. You're going to be like, "Oh, I was just scrolling on that specific girl's Instagram and that's why I feel that way." Also, if you run a business through social media, I would recommend unfollowing almost every single person in your industry. That's been a big supporter for me. I think that it's a great way to make sure we're not diluting our inspiration, our creativity, anything of the sorts through someone else's content. So sometimes we can see what someone else is doing and then we lose sight of what's actually our own thoughts, our own opinions, our own creative juices because we're paying attention to what someone else is doing so closely. So notice those things, make sure to turn envy into inspiration, mute or unfollow accounts, and know that by you deciding to do that, you are practicing having strong boundaries, and that's actually a beautiful thing that you can do for yourself. Also, you guys have heard me talk about this absolutely nonstop. Take time away from social media. Okay, I promise you, your business, your views, your engagement, it is not going to suffer. It's going to be okay because you're prioritizing your energy, and your energy actually matters most. When you take time off, you're going to show up so much better because you're not coming from a place of I need to, or I have to, or I should. You're going to be coming from a place of complete positivity, creativity, inspiration, and that's better than anything. Now, taking time away from social media, I just take 2 days a week. If you can't do 2 days a week right now, start with just 1 day. But I really want you to start having more boundaries with social media. So on top of taking those 2 days a week away from social media, I take Saturdays and Sundays off social media completely. I don't scroll. I don't really create. I will maybe take videos while I'm out, like at the park with my daughter, or if I'm going out with the boys, or like I'm doing something fun, I'll take a video on my phone, but I'm not going to go on social media. I'm not going to post it. And I actually set limits in my settings app. You can turn on the screen time restrictions and you can make it for Saturdays and Sundays. That's one way you can do it. Second is I have a lot of boundaries around when I get on social media. So I don't get on social media in the mornings until after I have meditated, after I've journaled, after I've taken time and space for myself and for my family. So for example, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then I'm not on social media usually until about 7 or 8. And this just helps me protect my space in the morning because that time and space in the morning is so important because our brain is actually the most impressionable right when we wake up and right when we go to sleep. So I also do not get on social media at all at nighttime. I'm really not on at all usually past 6 p.m. Sometimes if I feel super inspired, I might post something, but I'm usually not posting anything, responding to anything, or scrolling whatsoever after that time. I also think that this is really important for that cheap dopamine. Once again, cheap dopamine is real. It's there. Cheap dopamine is basically like you sitting there scrolling on social media and just like constantly getting dopamine hits from watching something funny or watching something this, watching something that. And what happens is that cheap dopamine starts to feel easier to get than expensive or luxury dopamine. Luxury dopamine on the opposite side of this would probably be like you accomplishing a really, really hard workout, or you pushing yourself to get to the next level of fitness, or you deciding to like do something that's super uncomfortable. That's going to give you like luxurious dopamine, or like running a mile, something like that. Those are luxurious dopamine hits rather than cheap dopamine hits. And that luxurious dopamine hit, that is going to be so much more fulfilling deeply, and you're going to be wiring yourself to do uncomfortable, hard things to get really great results, to get really great luxury dopamine hits. And those are going to be always just so much more fulfilling and make you feel so much better. So take that time and space away from social media. We are not meant to be connected as much as we are. That is the reason why comparison is at its all-time highest. It's the reason why depression is at its all-time highest. It's the reason why we are constantly seeing a lot of really, really challenging, horrible things in the news because children and like really young people are on social media that shouldn't be, because they're comparing themselves so early on. So it's just something to be very, very cautious of. And the more intentional that I have been about it, the better my life has been, the more fulfilled I feel, the more joy I get to feel, the more expansiveness I have, the more I'm in the present moment. And that's really, really important to me in my expansion as well. And lastly, to reiterate my first point, is when you are in person, understanding that every single one of us, we all have insecurities. We all have our moments where we don't feel our best. We all have days where we're feeling off, or we're feeling like a fraction of ourselves, where we just look in the mirror and we just don't like what we see. And I want to tell you that that's completely normal. It's completely normal. It's completely valid. And all you can do is choose your next best thought. So take that time to actually rewire what you believe about yourself, what you see when you look in the mirror. Start giving yourself intentional love. All of the places of yourself that you tend to look away from or you don't want to see. For me, like my acne, if I don't want to see that in the mirror, I'm going to intentionally spend time looking at my acne, giving it love, sending it light, sending it healing, and knowing that I accept myself for exactly as I am. I love myself for exactly as I am, who I am, and I'm grateful. At the end of the day, I'm grateful that my body or my soul chose this body. And when you start to reaffirm those things and you start to really get in touch with who you are on a soul level, a lot of the external things start to fall away and you won't be as in your head about those things, because in reality, they really don't matter. There's many solutions to all of these things. And also just knowing that you are beautiful, you are loved exactly as you are, and you get to be the person who gives yourself that love and acceptance whenever you're ready to do so. I hope that this episode was extremely valuable for you. I hope that you resonated with it. If you did, please send me a message on Instagram. I love it when you guys message me. I love hearing your guys' takeaways, the things that resonate with you. It just makes my heart so happy, and getting that feedback, it really means the world to me. So leave a comment down below. Send this to someone who you think would really enjoy it. Give us a like, give us a rating. It means so much to myself and my channel that we're growing and continuing to impact thousands and thousands of more people every single day. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.